There was this rancher named Curtis Delaney
Looks like you had a bit of an accident, officer.
who lived outside a town called Abilene, Texas. He had a big problem that kept happening over and over again. The security patrol cars from his neighborhood kept running over his mailbox and smashing it to pieces. It wasn't just once or twice. It happened 5 times in 6 months. Every time Curtis put up a new mailbox, one of those white patrol cars would come by and crash right into it. Curtis would hear that awful sound of metal getting crushed, and then he'd have to go buy another mailbox and put it up again. Curtis was 52 years old and worked really hard on his ranch. He had cattle and a small farmhouse, and he fixed equipment in his workshop. But no matter how much work he put into his place, those patrol cars kept destroying his mailbox. At first, Curtis thought it was just bad luck. Maybe the roads were too narrow, or maybe the drivers just made mistakes. But after the 3rd time, he started getting mad. After the 4th time, he was really upset. And after the 5th time, he was done being nice about it. Curtis tried to complain to the people in charge. There was this guy named Gregory Winslow who ran the neighborhood group called the HOA. When Curtis went to their meetings and told them about his problem, Gregory just said things like, "Accidents happen, and maybe you should move your mailbox back a few feet." Nobody seemed to care that Curtis was spending his own money to replace the same mailbox over and over again. Curtis's neighbor Janice saw what kept happening and felt bad for him. His wife Renee tried to calm him down, but Curtis was tired of being pushed around. His son Caleb thought maybe the patrol cars were doing it on purpose to mess with his dad. Some other neighbors started talking about it too. An older man named Sherman told Curtis that maybe the patrol drivers were mad at him because Curtis had argued with the HOA before about some fence rules. Curtis had won that argument, and maybe Gregory Winslow didn't like that. Curtis realized that whether the drivers were hitting his mailbox on purpose or by accident, the result was the same. He was the one paying for new mailboxes while everybody else's mailboxes stood just fine, even the old rusty ones that had been there for years. So Curtis decided to do something about it. He went into his workshop and started building a special mailbox. From the outside, it looked like a normal wooden mailbox. But inside, Curtis built it with steel beams and concrete. He buried it 3 feet deep in the ground with thick metal rebar to hold it in place. It looked harmless, but it was actually super strong. Curtis worked on this mailbox for weeks, welding and building in his shop. His family wasn't sure it was a good idea. Renee worried it might cause more problems. But Curtis was determined. He was tired of people not respecting his property. When Curtis finished building his super strong mailbox, he put it up by the road. It looked just like any other country mailbox. Nobody could tell it was different just by looking at it. It didn't take long for the first test. A few days later, one of the patrol cars came driving down the road and hit Curtis's new mailbox, just like they had done 5 times before. But this time was different. The front of the white SUV was all crushed up, with a bent bumper and broken headlights. Steam was coming out of the hood. But Curtis's mailbox? It didn't have a scratch on it. It just stood there perfectly fine. The driver got out of the crashed car, looking shocked. He couldn't believe what had happened. Neighbors came running to see what all the noise was about. For the first time in months, Curtis smiled. His mailbox had finally fought back. Word spread quickly through the neighborhood. Some people thought Curtis was a hero for standing up to the patrol cars. Others thought he had gone too far and that his super-strong mailbox was dangerous. Gregory Winslow was really mad when he found out what happened. Gregory came to Curtis's house and demanded that he take down the strong mailbox. He said it was against neighborhood rules and that it was unsafe. But Curtis refused. He said his mailbox was on his own land and that he had every right to build it however he wanted. The argument got bigger and bigger. Some neighbors supported Curtis and said he had every right to protect his property. Others worried that someone might get hurt if they hit the strong mailbox. The whole neighborhood started taking sides. Gregory and the HOA got so mad that they decided to sue Curtis in court. They said his mailbox was a danger to the community and that he had to take it down or pay big fines. Curtis hired a lawyer named Maxine Porter to help him fight the lawsuit. The whole thing became a big deal in the community. People argued about it at the diner and the grocery store. Some kids at school thought Curtis was cool for building the indestructible mailbox. Others thought he was causing too much trouble. Meanwhile, the patrol cars started acting weird around Curtis's house. Instead of just driving by, they would sit at the end of his road with their lights flashing like they were watching him. Curtis even got a note on his door telling him to take down the mailbox before someone gets hurt. Curtis and his family felt like they were under attack. But Curtis wouldn't give up. He had worked too hard and been ignored for too long to back down now. The court case went on for months. Curtis had to pay lawyer fees and deal with all the stress of fighting the HOA in court. Some neighbors stopped talking to him. Others brought him food and left encouraging notes to show they supported him. Finally, just before the trial was supposed to start, something surprising happened. The HOA dropped the lawsuit. Curtis's lawyer said they realized they probably couldn't win in court, and too many people in the community were supporting Curtis. Curtis had won. His mailbox could stay right where it was. The patrol cars started driving more carefully around his property. Gregory Winslow stopped bothering him. The whole fight was finally over. In the end, Curtis's story became famous in the neighborhood. Some people still didn't like what he had done, but others respected him for standing up for himself. His mailbox became a symbol that you don't have to let people walk all over you. Curtis learned that sometimes you have to fight for respect. You can't just ask for it nicely and hope people will listen. Sometimes you have to show them that you're not going to back down, no matter how hard they try to push you around. The strong mailbox still stands by Curtis's ranch today. It reminds everyone who drives by that one person who refuses to give up can make a difference. Curtis proved that you don't have to be rich or powerful to stand up for what's right. You just have to be willing to fight for it. Curtis's message to anyone who might be going through something similar is simple. Don't let people run you over. Stand your ground, build your own kind of strong mailbox, and show them that you deserve respect. Because at the end of the day, respect isn't something people just give you. Sometimes you have to take it back.